Viper, the leader of the Reptilian coalition. The name Echnida in Greek means viper, denoting its reptilian nature, but also denoting its destructive action, since the viper is eminently poisonous and a deadly snake. According to Hesiod, Echidna is an irresistible monster, which bears no resemblance to mortals nor to the immortal gods, a divine, crater-like, miserable and immortal and ever-aging nymph that is immortal, powerful, formidable, and a monstrous demon. Apparently, she's one of the vicious supernatural leaders of the Reptilian coalition, and that is why she became Typhoon's companion. And like him, it has a material energy essence. When Hesiod says that Echidna, the viper, is half a beautiful nymph with a lively look and the other half of a huge serpent, vicious and large, dotted and shoulder-shaped, he means her as a woman-shaped up to the waist and with a serpentine spiral instead of buttocks, and this means that the viper, Echidna, is in its original form a huge human-reptile hybrid of material energy texture. She has reptilian buttocks, legs, and tail, while on the upper part of her body she is generally feminine, but also with some reptilian features, probably fiery eyes, with vertical pupils, forked tongue, scales on parts of her torso, arms, etc. But because she has the ability to transform as an archdeacon, she often appears in two other forms, as a dragon, as her name suggests, and as Hesiod characterizes her, as half-hearted, and as a beautiful woman, as evidenced by her characterization by Hesiod as half a calligraphic nymph. As for the parents of Echidna, the viper, they were Forkina or Forco and Quito. Hesiod mentions that they were both born from Pontus and Gaea. Hesiod also mentions that Phorkys and Keto gave birth to 6 other terrible beings before Echidna, the viper, the congenitally old Greys, Pemphridus and Dino, and the reptilian mermaids, Stheno, Evriali, and Medusa. We all know the Medusa with the snake for hair. And then Edusa, the serpent dragon who guarded the apples of Hesperides. Now, both Phorkys and Quito, as well as these children, were certainly born before Cronidus and the Battle of the Titans, since Hesiod refers to the genus Phorkys and Quito long before the genera of Saturn and Rhea, inserting between them the genera of 4 Titans: Ocean, Tethys; Hyperion, Ant; Ares, Evrybia; Chios, Phoebe. Homer calls Phorkyn Lord of the Barren, the sea, in Odyssey, and the Sea Elder, and mentions that there was in Ithaca Phorkyn, the port of Phorkyn. He also mentioned that the child of Phorkys, the nymph Thosa, with whom Poseidon gave birth to the terrible Cyclops Polyphemus. Remember, Polyphemus is the one that Ulysses blinded him, but without identifying the mother. Apollonius of Rhodes mentions that Phorkys gave birth to another terrible being with Kratea or Hecate, the human dog-shaped, multi-headed, and polypus Scylla. Polydorus does not mention the same, but without identifying Kratea with Hecate. In an Antioch mosaic of the 4th century AD, Phorkys is depicted as a third. He is a man-made and red-skinned up to the upper part of his torso, and with an oblique spiral instead of the lower part of his torso and legs, which has 2 lobster nipples, and the upper part torch, and carries on his fishy back a sea nymph named Dinameni. It's also depicted similarly with a Roman African mosaic of the 3rd and 4th century AD. It's generally man-made, red-skinned with up to the waist, but with horns on its head and horny outgrowths on its trunk and arms, and with an inverted spiral instead of buttocks and legs, which has 2 lobster hooves at the top, spiny protuberances, and a hairy end, left and carries on its fishy back a sea nymph. Combining these depictions of Phorkyrros with his birth from Pontus and Gaea and his characterizations by Homer as a sea elder and the lord of the unbreakable sea, we conclude that he is a primordial, immortal, and powerful amphibian demon. He is not explicitly mentioned as vicious, since he gave birth to so many terrible beings, including 4 reptilian beings and a dragon. He can only be vicious. Apparently, he's one of the vicious supernatural leaders of the Reptilian Coalition, and in particular, one of its supreme naval leaders. It has a material energy essence and is in the original form of the human amphibious material energy hybrid. Combining the above 2 illustrations, we conclude that it has amphibious legs, tail, and lower torso, while above it's generally man-shaped, but with scales on the upper part of torso and arms, and probably fiery eyes with vertical pupils and a forked tongue as the archdeacon, and has the ability to transform, shapeshift that is. It often appears as horned with hairy tail and otherwise as before. The nature of Phorkyrros is confirmed by his very name, which comes from the word phorkos, or white, off-white, and wrinkled, meaning the meaning is the same. By these meanings, which are characterized of elders with hairs and wrinkled skin, indicating the age of the sea elder Phorkyrros, while in particular through the concept of wrinkled, which characterizes the wrinkled scaly skin of amphibians and reptiles, indicates the amphibian form of Phorkyrros. As for Quito, the fact that she is a sister and companion of Phorkyrros, but also her own name, which comes from the word whale, sea beast or sea monster, great sea fish, and whale and seal, which means female cetacean, sea beast, and sea monster, suggesting that the whale is a monstrous cetacean, that is, amphibian being, show that it is similar to Phorkyrros. One of the highest marine leaders of the Reptilian Coalition is generally feminine, but with scales on parts of her upper torso and arms, and probably fiery eyes with vertical pupils and a forked tongue. Quito mixed with Phorkyn in some material energy way and gave birth to the above terrible beings with him. Echidna was not born in the viper was not born in a hollow cave, which Hesiod means as the same cave in Arimos under Chthonus, where the viper lives for a limited time. So this cave is located in the bowels of the sacred earth and below the hollow rock, away from the immortal gods and mortals. In other words, it is an inland cave that is located at a great depth underground in Arima, while the hollow rock, quote-unquote, above it is obviously the stony Koriki cave. It's connected with a subterranean channel that ended as the Koriki cave and Ketchenim, and through it to the rest of the underground network of the area, apparently containing the Tartar Gate that is connected to the subterranean channel. It was one of the earthly centers of the Reptilian Coalition, while due to its connection with the sea, since the underground network of Arima extends to it, and its proximity to its subsoil, since the upper cave of Korikio is only 3.7 kilometers from it, fell within the competence of the amphibians, reptilians, Phorkyrros and Ketus. Thus, they gave birth to the viper here, in that cave. And this is from ancient texts concerning these Nephilim and half man, half beast, demonic entities. This I've translated for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.